Hey, Kellen.
How's it going, man?
How are you?
Got to talk to you about something serious first.
Exactly.
We try to be professional when we do these videos. We'd appreciate the same professionalism from you.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope you can take this with a grain of salt. I hope you hear it in love. We mean it in love. But we work really hard to let you know if our dog walks by, our animals get in a fight during, or something falls down, or like right now there's tons of smoke on camera because we're burning incense because it smells good. We try to let you know those things. Mm-hmm. But
you've got a fountain in the background or something, and you're not letting us in on what's going on, and we're just really curious. I think everybody who watched the video is probably really curious about this fountain or fish tank. Or
I'm calling fish tank. He thinks it's a fountain. So
I'd like to think that you have a fountain inside of your house.
Yeah. So if you could clear that up for us,
or a toilet that's not working properly.
And don't get us wrong, we're not offended by the background noise. We would just,
it was actually a nice ambiance.
We would like to be let in on what's going on, is all we're saying.
So just thought you should know.
Anyway, so that's a loving rebuke. Your questions were our favorite pastors. To be honest with you, we heard a ton of good people when we were in college. Mm-hmm. I remember hearing so many that really moved me. But there's one main pastor influence who we would say is like a pastor to us, even though we don't go to his church, and that is
surprise, John Piper.
We're just big Piper fans.
Mm-hmm.
Never met him, so I don't know what he's like as a person, but I know that he preaches the truth a lot, and has incredible gift from the Lord to communicate. And I just really appreciate the care he takes in the Word and just the passion he has for the truth and for people, and for the Lord to be glorified. So that'd be the answer to that question is John Piper is the one probably. There are a lot of other guys we like, but for me, I'm the same way with, people recommend books a lot, and I just am naturally going to be suspicious if the book isn't at least 50 years old. I'd rather read someone who the book has lasted a couple generations, who a couple generations of Christians have said, like a Tozer or even a Lewis, who this guy's lasted 3 or 4 generations. And so it's hard for me to grasp onto a lot of preachers because a lot of them, honestly now, a lot of them are close to our age, and it's just, you want to see someone who's been battle-tested. Not that young people can't preach the truth, is not what I'm not saying, but it's just as far as what I gravitate towards.
So you also asked about our favorite hymns, and we actually decided not to tell each other our favorite hymns before we did this. So
I've got 4 in my head, rattling around in my head.
I've got 3.
Okay. We'll go 1 for 1.
I bet we've got 1 or 2 that are
okay.
the same.
I'll go my number 1.
You go 1, because you got 4, I got 3. If you go first,
then it'll even out. Okay, I'm not putting them in order, though.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say number 1, How Great Thou Art.
Okay.
What's your number 1?
Be Thou My Vision.
My number 2, Be Thou My Vision.
All right. As the deer panteth for the water.
That's not the real
title. Is that the title? But do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, we can all sing it, yeah. The love of God. The last verse of the love of God is unbelievable lyrics.
And then my third is, I also don't know the lyrics. I mean the title, but the chorus refrain is, "Take joy, my King, in what you hear. May it be a sweet, sweet sound to your ears." So much so that I carved it on the back of my bass, my old bass, just because there's no prayer that I have more when I'm on stage than that.
That's a really good one. Can I add that to my list?
I think so.
Okay, then I have 5. My last one would be Holy, Holy, Holy. I just love that one. And actually our friends in a band called Ascend the Hill did a record of hymns last year, and they did a lot of the ones we just mentioned, or a couple years ago. So if you've never heard Ascend the Hill, then you probably need to come outside of the rock you live under. If you're a fan of my epic, you don't know who Ascend the Hill is, then you're missing out, because they're right in your wheelhouse. They're great friends of ours. They just put a new record out recently, and but yeah, their hymns record is incredible.
Yeah.
So, and then the last question was,
why am I blanking?
Why am I blanking? Oh, but Kellen, I want to know what your favorite hymns are.
Oh, I know what your last question was, and the answer is yes. We have now heard of Josh Garrels because you told us about him. Garrels, because you told us about him. But a lot of people have mentioned him to us recently.
Our label head and one of our best friends, Jason, likes Josh Garrels, and we think if we've got our details right, that he goes to church with Tanner, our other guitarist.
We could have called Tanner and confirmed, but we try to avoid talking to Tanner
whenever possible.
But yeah, so we have, and actually the day that we saw this question, I went and put him on Spotify and just listened to everything all day at work. So I thought it was really interesting, and
he's definitely got a very great
definitely, I actually was pretty surprised at how versatile he was, and how much of a range there was in his style. So it kept me on my toes all day.
I personally haven't listened to him enough to give an opinion yet, but I'm going to check it out. So
yeah, it's going to take more than a couple of days to give an opinion, but really appreciate everybody who's urged us to check him out. He seems like a solid dude, and if it's the same guy that Tanner was talking about, he was all about him too. So thank you guys, thank you Kellen, and grace and peace.
Grace and peace.